Okay, so this hour's lead story on Capitol Hill today, the House DOGE Caucus, Department of Government Efficiency, is holding its first ever meeting with lawmakers.
Meanwhile, President-elect Donald Trump met with TikTok's CEO ahead of the impending U.S. ban on the Chinese-owned app if it fails to find a new parent company. I think they have a month to do this.
Right. I know there's some suitors. Peter Doocy joins us from Washington. Peter.
Good morning. The tech CEO with the most to gain from a Mar-a-Lago meeting is Xiao Chu. He runs TikTok, and unless its Chinese owners sell it, TikTok is banned here in the U.S. January 19th. But on January 20th, Donald Trump can extend the deadline for that sale, and it sounds like he's open to it.
We'll take a look at TikTok. You know, I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok because I won youth by 34 points. And there are those that say that TikTok had something to do with that. TikTok had an impact, and so we're taking a look at it. But, you know, we won youth. Republicans are always 30 points down in youth.
Remember, the TikTok ban has to do with bipartisan concerns that the Chinese owners are mining data from U.S. users to use for reasons unknown. Another very interesting dynamic to consider here, TikTok is a main competitor to X, owned by Trump's new pal, Elon Musk. Trump really seems to value Musk's opinion on things. We don't know what kind of influence Musk has here. Musk's Doge is the talk of the next Congress, and Congresswoman Victoria Spartz, Republican from Indiana, is so moved by the idea of reforming the federal government that she's going to do just that, just Doge. She told Speaker Johnson she does not want to be on any committees anymore. She's not going to participate in anything with the caucus, just Doge. Spartz says that she is still going to be a registered Republican, but it could still be a real headache for a House Speaker, Mike Johnson, who just has a one-seat majority as is. Back to you.
Well, only because the other seats have to be filled with special elections, right? So
right.
What do we have? Waltz, we have Lee Stefanik,
Gates.
and so Gates. So you have those three seats. So that's far. It'll expand a little bit.
And it sounds like there are some ways that Trump can manipulate the math a little bit more. There is talk that he could pull somebody like Jared Moskowitz, the Democrat from Florida, to run one of the federal agencies here.
FEMA.
That would be smart.
Wow.
So, Peter, going back to your other topic today, on TikTok, you know, over the last couple of years, we've heard about the security concerns and stuff like that. But so many lawmakers and a lot of Republicans and Donald Trump himself used TikTok, and he was talking about it yesterday at Mar-a-Lago about how TikTok helped him, he presumes, with young people. Is there a possibility they could actually say, we know we've been against it for a long time, but now, you know what, maybe it's not so bad?
It just depends on who they're listening to. The senator that he wants to be his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, was one of the most anti-TikTok voices in Congress over the last couple of years. And the concerns that just kind of shuffling the chairs in the boardroom with a Beijing-owned parent company is not going to do anything to change the fact that they might be mining data from U.S. Users who have this app downloaded on their phone. What we were led to believe over the last couple months when they passed this bill with a bipartisan majority is that as soon as you download it, they can see anything in your phone if they want to. That has not changed, and it will not change. It's not going to allay the concerns of the people who voted for this.
Peter, here's the thing. You have that stealing our data. The other thing is the news. Most young people are getting the news from TikTok. They have a great algorithm. They have a great business plan. But try to find some pro-Israel stories on the timeline on the news feed for TikTok. Now, if the tariffs go against China, you watch slowly but surely a lot of the pro-tariff talk will take a lower profile to the pro-tariff talk, to the anti-tariff talk, because it goes to China. Do you want China controlling the #1 news feed for the next generation of Americans?
And Brian, I heard something so interesting over the last couple of weeks. Somebody that I know who works in the Intel realm discounted the possibility right away that the drones could be controlled by China. And the argument was, why would the Chinese need to surveil the U.S. with drones when they have TikTok and they can see everything?
Good point.
They're watching from our pockets.
You know, Peter, when your dad was interviewing the drone guy out on Fox Square a few days ago, at the end of last week, he was in the green room and he was talking to me and he said, They can see everything. Anything we buy on Amazon that's from China, they can put devices in it, chips in it. They can put anything in it to spy on us. And he said they know everything that we're doing, including the drones we buy on Amazon.
Yes. And yes to all of that. And all of that to say it would be it would not sit well with a lot of elected Republicans if Trump reverses on the TikTok, forcing TikTok to be sold. But what are they going to say about it publicly? Because everything else they've said over the last couple of months, or since the election, is that he was just elected with a mandate. We need to at least give him a chance to do things the way that he wants to do.
All right.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you very much. You know, and we've been talking over the last couple of weeks and months now about the mandate, but also we're realizing that Donald Trump is in the midst of a honeymoon period like we haven't seen before. I was looking at Morning Consult. Donald Trump just hit the highest net favorability rating since April of 2017. That's right after he took office. A majority of people approve of how he's handling the transition, and surveys show the people feel broadly warmer about Trump than they did over the last two elections. And it's not just the rank and file people, average Americans, it's people with the biggest wallets in the world, because they realize, you know, that old expression, if you can't beat them, join them. Well, they might not have voted for him in the past, but now they're voting for him by supporting his transition and trying to make it effective, because whatever he does impacts them.
Yesterday, I filled in on Outnumbered, and we were watching this presser of Donald Trump. It was more than an hour. It was so good. It was his first press conference. He really was. It was his first press conference since being elected the second time. And he covered so many different topics, from the drones to the CEOs that want to meet with him. He talked about how all these CEOs and individuals, which I think is smart on the CEOs' part, want to come to Mar-a-Lago and be his friend. Listen to this.
How was your meeting with Apple CEO Tim Cook, and did you talk about tariffs in that meeting?
Meeting with who?
Apple CEO Tim Cook.
I did have dinner with Tim Cook. I had dinner with sort of almost all of them, and the rest are coming. And this is one of the big differences, I think, between, we were talking about it before, one of the big differences between the first term. In the first term, everybody was fighting me. In this term, everybody wants to be my friend. I don't know. My personality changed or something. But I had, as you know, I had Sundar from Google, but I also had Sergey. And we do have Jeff Bezos, Amazon, coming in sometime during the week.
And yet, of course, Elon Musk, another business titan. And then you have people like David Sachs, who's going to be head of, crypto, and he's going to be head of AI. And he worked with them the whole time. So they definitely want influence. They want to say in it, but they have a peer that understands their business, started a series of companies turned into billion-dollar success stories, beginning but not ending with PayPal. And then you have people that just want to be a part of it. They don't want to be left out. And I also think that they want to, and I might be naive, but I also think they want to help the country. And I think they see this as an opportunity to help the country without being put into an ideological box, because this president is so different than a typical Republican or Democrat. He splits the differences on a lot of issues, and the party follows him. And the other thing is, I think on some level in 2016, a lot of these titans thought that they could have done the same thing. They're almost kicking themselves. If Trump could have won, I could have won. And then now they're seeing what he went through, what he's done, the crowds that he got, the popularity that he has, getting the popular vote, and then what he was able to do through being assassinated twice, and thought, you know what, maybe I couldn't have done that. And maybe I should just dive in. And Elon Musk, I think, made it cool.
Well, to the point about the honeymoon, not only with the Americans, but also with Silicon Valley, for the most part, none of the tech companies supported Trump in 2016. None of them. And so his point when he says everybody wants to be my friend is they're realizing the importance of being close to the president of the United States. And that is why, one of the reasons why all these tech companies are now each donating $1 million to Donald Trump's inauguration. You've got $1 million from Amazon, $1 million from Meta, OpenAI's Sam Altman gave $1 million, and so did Perplexity. Donating to an inaugural fund doesn't really ultimately get you noticed much, But if you don't donate, that gets you noticed. It's like, hey, why didn't we get any money from these people? I looked into it, and so they're all given $1 million this time. For Biden, you know how much Google gave? $300,000. Microsoft, $500,000. Amazon, about $250,000. So in other words, they're giving so much more money to Donald Trump. Maybe it's little penance. Maybe they want to have a really big party.
It's called the inaugural fund. What does that money go to? What does it pay for?
To pay for everything.
A lot of the balls, a lot of the organization.
So for the parties, it's not for the administration. It's not for
right. It could go
just
be used
for
for
that
this.
night.
But you remember
staging.
January 20th.
And you talk about the amount of investigations. They started investigating the inaugural ball, like the inaugural fund. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Tom Perot.
Yeah.
They said,
right.
what happened with this? What's going on? I'm thinking to myself, 2.5 years later, the Democrats were doing an investigation on where that money's coming from and how it was used.